The COVID-19 virus and the crisis it's created has changed our world. For now, it's the inconvenience of it all, scrambling to cancel patients, deciding on how to manage our teams, and coping with the strangeness of the quarantines and all of the isolation. Plus, the seismic-like economic crunch of the crisis has us all rethinking our consumption habits, and for many, maybe feeling regret for not being better stewards of our finances. What once were simple things, trips to the grocery store, or going to the movies, or having enough toilet paper, are for now not so simple anymore. However inconvenient things are now, it remains to be seen whether our inconveniences will degrade into catastrophe. I don't know. What I do know with certainty, no matter how much carnage-like impact this crisis has, there will always be the need for leadership. Now is the time. Now is the time for leadership. There's an old saying, crisis makes the man. Well, I believe crisis reveals the man. You see, when times are good, the comfort and perceived safety it brings can camouflage the chinks in our leadership armor. However, strip away the comfort, safety, predictability, and steady cash flow, it can reveal our leadership flaws and show up in behavioral failings of fear, greed, anger, and panic. Years ago, I studied leadership at the Center for Creative Leadership in Greensboro, North Carolina. The center has been at the forefront of leadership development for over 50 years and has worked with 2/3 of the world's Fortune 500 companies. My first experience with the center was in its leadership development program. It was an on-site week-long program with about 20 students, all of whom owned or belonged to significant organizations. That week, we learned leadership principles and participated in case study scenarios to test our leadership judgment. We were teamed up in pairs during the scenarios. My partner was a Navy captain of a nuclear ballistic missile submarine. I loved my experience that week. And one of the lessons of leadership that I came away with applies to our current situation with the COVID-19 crisis. The lessons about adaptive capacity. Adaptive capacity is your ability to be transformed into a stronger leader from passing through a crucible event. Crucible events are those times when things get tough. Its name comes from medieval alchemists who used crucibles in their attempt to transform non-precious metals into gold. Crucible events, they change us. They can devastate and shrink our capabilities. Or, for those with adaptive capacity, crucible events spawn in us a better version of ourselves. The COVID-19 crisis is a crucible event. My comments today come from a variety of sources: the Center for Creative Leadership, the Harvard Business Review, my personal experiences of practicing dentistry, building a communications consultancy, and just really paying attention to those people and events that have shaped me. At the end of this message today, I'll provide some leadership resources I believe will help you lead during the current crucible event we all share, and as important, resources to strengthen your adaptive capacity. The COVID-19 crisis will end. The issue then is, did the crisis strengthen or did it weaken your ability to lead? You see, COVID-19 is a test you didn't ask for. Do you have it within you, the hardiness, the grit to emerge stronger and more steadfast than ever? Well, if so, then you've passed one of the tests that makes for extraordinary leadership. In the day-to-day activities of a dental practice, most dentists don't see themselves as leaders. They're focused and consumed with the clinical aspects of dentistry. Most dentists prefer to delegate leadership to senior team members. To dentists, clinical procedures and delegations camouflage their leadership responsibilities. They don't see them. They're too busy fixing teeth and have others deal with leadership challenges. To dentists, the practice of dentistry is only about fixing teeth. Now, with the COVID-19 crisis and the ADA's calls for ceasing elective dental care, it's lifted the camouflage. You see, without the day-to-day grind and responsibility of fixing teeth, dentists are faced with a question most of them have never asked themselves. The question is this: do I have a role in the practice of dentistry other than fixing teeth? You see, when you take away all the dental procedures, what's left for a dentist to do? You see, my hope is when dentists answer that question of what to do, their answer is to lead. Now is the time for leadership. As of today, I hear from dentists who answer the question right. They're leading. They're stepping up and supporting their teams and doing all they can to manage the emergency nature of dental care for those they serve. The truth is, for these dentists who have stepped up, they've been leaders all along. They've been conscious of their leadership responsibilities despite the complexity and camouflage of fixing teeth. To them, the practice of dentistry has always been about leadership. It's always been about relationships and making it easy for others to succeed and feel better about themselves. The dividends of how well you lead during the crisis will be redeemed when it's over. For dentists who've led well, their teams will reward them with heightened levels of loyalty and spirit. For those who've led poorly, their team's dispiriting experience of the crisis will linger like a sour hangover. So what do dentists who've only seen their role as fixing teeth, what do they do now that they can't fix teeth? This is the question I asked myself 25 years ago. It was on the day I suffered an eye disability that made it impossible for me to practice dentistry. This was my crucible event. It took me a while to realize that fixing teeth was what I did. It wasn't who I was. I made a great living fixing teeth and helped advance implant dentistry in an era when there was strong headwinds against it. My disability gave me time to think. What was it that made the most significant difference in my practice? I came to realize that although I had keen surgical and restorative skills, the skill that made it all happen was my ability to connect with patients and team members. I created a belief in dental crippled patients that good dental health was possible for them. I created belief in my team that we made a difference in patients' lives that was not possible in many other offices. I created belief that our work was essential and each team member was valuable. It was these realizations that urged me to pursue a new career path. My mission became helping dentists build patients' belief that good dental health is possible, build their team's belief that they were working in the right dental office, and helping dentists believe, to help dentists build belief in themselves. My mission became to help dentists become leaders. COVID-19 has reminded me of my mission. So I'd say to dentists who haven't been conscious of their leadership responsibility, now's the time for leadership. Your teams need the right kind of leader. Many team members are scared. They need to see your courage. Team members don't know what's going to happen. They need to see your confidence. Team members feel isolated. They need to feel your connection. It's your turn to step up. Now's the time for leadership. So as I promised, here are several leadership resources to get you leading. Let's start with some high-level scholarly thinking on leadership. One of my favorites is the Harvard Business Review publication, Leadership Fundamentals. This is a compilation of articles regarded as the best of Harvard Business Review. They provide a strong dose of leadership principles that can nudge leader and even non-leader dentists into the new world of leadership and why it's essential for their practices. My favorite leadership resource is the Center for Creative Leadership. Here's the web address. Here's the address for the bookstore. There's something here for everyone. One of my favorites from the bookstore is Becoming a Leader Coach, a step-by-step guide to developing your people. These books are easy and they're fast to read. They're practical and they're not expensive. Let me throw my own hat in the ring of leadership resources. First is for dentists who have newfound time away from the chair. Here is the web address for my online courses, making it easy for patients to say yes and case acceptance skills for new dentists. There are courses that dentists can use to reconnect with isolated team members during the COVID-19 crisis. Earlier, I talked about dentists building belief in their patients and their team members and in themselves. These online courses do this. While you're on the website, check out my book. Just because you're leading doesn't mean they'll follow. This book is all about how to speak like a leader. Your team and patients need to hear your confidence and feel your influence. This book will build your leadership voice. The COVID-19 crisis will end. What never ends is our role as leaders. Will this crisis spawn in us better versions of ourselves? Will this crisis weaken or strengthen our ability to lead? Do we have the courage to look in the mirror and admit that we haven't led as well as we could? So much about strengthening our adaptive capacity is about our courage. Courage to move on, courage to walk away from illusions of believing that the leader we are now is the best we can be. We cannot grow as leaders without first having courage to grow ourselves. The best reason for leadership is who we have to become to do it. You have the time. Now is the time for leadership. Thanks for listening, and stay safe.